Hi, everyone, and welcome back. It's Tuesday, and we are at another series for AARP with our team from Morton, Illinois, the Cookery, and we're cooking again. These women are amazing. They come to us once a month, all the way to the end of this year. And whenever we go back in person, we're going to be keep doing it. I've been with AARP 5 years, and I am Lori Hendren, and I work for AARP Illinois. And you are here with us today because we're doing our day 2 of our 3-part cooking series. So, who is AARP? We are the nation's largest nonprofit organization, nonpartisan, and what we do is empower people to how to choose their lives. And it's what we do. We are in the hallways of Congress, in state houses, lobbying for issues which are important to you: nursing homes, telehealth, protecting critical home and community-based services, making your community livable. And we're also right in your community, working with you. And now we're in your phone or your maybe if you're projecting your TV or even on your computer screen. And we thank you for joining us. ARP is very proud of what we do, and there's folks like myself all across the nation just making sure we do the best that we can to enhance and improve your lives. So if you're interested in anything the ARP does, Ellen Acevedo is our Associate State Director who handles volunteer mobilization and just getting you on board and being part of our team. And we would always love to help you. We look for speakers, we look for instructors, people to lobby with us. So we always look for help. And for more ARP events and for our upcoming series, go to the site below and you can be able to see there. You can be able to register. When you register, you will be able to get the recipes. I will also post during this feed the recipes for today, yesterday, today, and tomorrow's events. So that is the beauty of it. And for more information on ARP, you can go right to our website. So you did not come here to hear me speak. You came to talk to these remarkable ladies. So here are the ladies from the Cookery. I say goodbye to the inn, and I will let the amazing chefs take over.
Thanks so much, Lori, and thanks to everybody that is joining us in the AARP family. We do appreciate you tuning in to our day 2 of our week of awesome sandwiches. And we're also closing out the summer this week. So just giving a few awesome summer sandwiches to end the season before we turn over to the great fall recipes that we'll be doing beginning next month, November and December. I have with me one of my student interns, Chef Sophie, and she is a sandwich artist, and she's going to be helping me out today as we get through actually 4 wonderful recipes, all quick, simple, and easy as usual, and very simplified so that you can make them at home. So today we're going to be making peach tea, peach sweet tea, actually, and Sophie's going to talk about some great tips of making the perfect clear sweet tea. She's also going to teach you how to make a delicious cantaloupe mint salad, something that we've done similar to another salad here before, but with a couple extra added flavor profiles. And then she's going to turn it over to me, and I'm going to come back and show you how to make that fried green tomato sandwich with a stone ground Dijon remoulade. So I'll see you back here in a few minutes. For right now, I'm going to turn it over to Chef Sophie so that she can get our beverage started. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
Thank you so much, Chef Amanda. Like Chef said, I am Sophie. I am a student intern here at the Cookery. Excuse me. I'm 17 and a senior in high school, and I've been working with Chef Amanda for a little over 3 months now, I think, at least. So to get started on our peach tea, what we're going to need to do is bring 2 different amounts of water to a boil on our stove. So I have 8 cups. Right now it's just about at a simmer, not quite a boil. And then I have 1 cup of water. The 1 cup of water is going to be for our simple syrup, which is going to be the first thing that we start. A simple syrup is always equal cups water and sugar to start. So I have 1 cup of water in here boiling. So now I'm going to add 1 cup of sugar. And simple syrups can really be flavored in whatever way you want them to be. Our house, the Schneblin household, loves to make simple syrups and add them to different drinks. We have a soda stream machine. And what we really like to do is make different lemonades, and then we'll carbonate them and then add simple syrup. And we really like to use whatever we can find in the garden or at a farmer's market. So this summer we did a lot of strawberry and coconut thyme syrups. And we always just love exploring different drink concoctions we can make for ourselves. So I'm going to add this sugar in, and then I'm going to add in 1 of my lemons juiced. So of course I'm going to give my lemon a quick bowl. I'm going to cut it in half and then use my juicer
Why do you roll your lemons, Sophie?
I want to roll my lemons because it's going to soften them a little bit to get me a bit more juice out of each one. And of course, we want to get the maximum amount of all of our ingredients.
Oh yeah, those are expensive.
Yeah. And then we have so much more flavor too. So I always roll lemons, limes, even oranges if I'm going to juice them because it's going to give me more flavor in the end. This is over medium-low heat right now. I'm going to turn it down a little more. And then I'm going to dice up some peaches, which I believe we've done before, but I'll go over it again. So I'm going to start similar to an avocado, and I'm going to run my knife around. And then I'm going to give it a gentle twist. Out it came. And then I'm going to get this out with my hand, just like that. And then I can always, if there's some extra almost residue from the pit, I can kind of scoop that out with my spoon. And then I'm going to put one slice off to the side for me to garnish my plate or my cup so it looks super pretty. And then you don't even have to peel these. We have cleaned them. And then I'm just going to run my knife through and give each one a good dice. And then I will add that to my simple syrup mixture as well. So right now, again, we have equal parts water and sugar, 1 cup of each, and then we have the juice of 1 lemon in there. And then I will be putting 2 peaches in.
So in this particular recipe, the peach flavor that we're getting for our tea is actually going to come from the simple syrup and not necessarily from the tea itself, right?
Absolutely. So this is peach is fun because you can use peaches in so many different things. So, and they also pair nicely with a lot of different things. So if you want to make a simple syrup, and then you can keep it in your fridge, you can use it as a sauce for a dessert. Chunk it up, keep some peaches in there, some fresh peaches, and it could definitely become like a sauce or a compote for a dessert, or you can do a lot of different things with simple syrup. So those are always really nice to have. We just keep some in our fridge, pull them out when we want to use them.
How long will a simple syrup last in your refrigerator?
For us, ours normally lasts quite a while, 2 or 3 weeks, but it always depends on the fruit, how fresh the fruit is, because you don't want, unless you're straining it, of course, like we are today, you don't want mushy fruit in your fridge.
But if you had just the syrup and you strained off the flavors, I mean, that could last like a month or so because it's pretty much just sugar or water, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
These really do last a while, which is, I think, a reason we love to make them. You can make them one day and they'll last us and give us so many flavors for so long. And I am not ready to give up summer, so having some of these in the fridge has been fantastic, even though it's starting to get cool and we just had our annual pumpkin festival. I'm just not quite ready to give up summer. I'm holding on until, I'm pretty sure tomorrow is the first day of autumn, but I'm going to hold on until then. So then I'm just going to add these to my simple syrup, and I'm going to bring my heat to about medium to low so it simmers. And we'll let it simmer for a while because the longer we let it simmer, the more flavor we are going to get from our peach.
Now this water is boiling. What's this water going to be for?
So the water is actually going to be used to steep our tea. You really want to use boiling water, and you don't want to put your tea bag in the water and bring it to a boil because you're not going to get that clear restaurant quality iced tea. It'll be cloudy and kind of bitter. So you really want to boil the water first, like I have, and then I'm going to pour it into my pitcher. Today we are using raspberry tea bags because raspberry and peach go so well together. And honestly, I think peach goes with everything. But I really think this will be delicious. So we're using raspberries. You can use normal. You can definitely use normal tea bags, or you can use peach tea bags.
Ooh, peach would be good because then it'd be very, very, very peachy.
Peach is always our house's favorite. We mix it with some sun tea, and we are a lot of us are non-sweet tea drinkers, so we like that peach because it has that kind of sweet flavor without being overly sweet for our house.
So this is going to end up being a raspberry peach tea.
Yes.
Oh, that sounds like super end of summer and super beginning of summer at the same time. I love it.
So you can definitely use so many different tea bags. I think obviously peach would be good. Strawberry would be good. I would argue blueberry would be delicious. I don't think everyone has the same affinity for blueberry as I do, but I definitely think that that would be great. So I'm just finishing up chopping my peaches and adding them into my simple syrup mixture.
Now, how long are we supposed to let that cook?
So I think you can really let this simmer as much as you want. We're going to have this simmer for probably close to 15 minutes. The more you simmer it, the more flavors you're going to extract from your simple syrup ingredients.
And then that simple syrup, once it cools, will kind of set up a little bit more, right?
Yep, it'll become a little thicker, obviously more syrup-like than what we have right now. You can even see that my water is starting to change color. It's turning kind of a light pink color from the peaches, which is telling me that the simple syrup mixture is already extracting the flavor from the fruit.
Yum.
Yeah, right?
Okay.
And then
it's great smelling.
Yeah, right? It smells so good in here already. Yeah. You can already see my tea starting to clear up, and that's because we boiled the water and then added it to the tea bag.
So don't boil the tea bags in the water at all, right?
Nope, that's how you're going to get that cloudy, bitter tasting tea. So if you go to a restaurant and you see that their tea is a little bitter and kind of cloudy, you're going to know that they boiled their tea bag straight in with the water instead of adding the water to it. And that was 8 cups of water to 7 tea bags. But of course, you can change that ratio to whatever you like or however much you want to make. If it's just you or if it's just 2 of you, you might want to do a little less. And that's what I love about this recipe, is you don't have to make this quantity for it to work. So now that we have our simple syrup mixture going, I'm going to leave that on medium low, and I'm going to start over on my cantaloupe salad so we can use our time wisely.
All right, I'm just going to get a close up here. So just to reiterate, the recipe called for black tea. We decided to use raspberry black tea, but you could use a plain black tea if you really wanted a peach to come through, or even a peach tea if you wanted peachy tea. Or if you want to experiment with some other flavors, you can. Okay, right now we're cooking the peaches and the lemon into our simple syrup, which is going to be most of the flavor. Okay, and we know that our simple syrup won't be set when it's hot. It's more going to set up as it cools. So you can do this, in steps where you cool it in the fridge. Obviously today we're going to do it as a whole, but it's good to let your syrup cool before you add it into your tea. We're also, go ahead.
Especially for the one glass instead of a whole pitcher of tea, it's nice to let this set up.
That way you don't melt your ice cubes and have a super watery tea because all of your liquids are hot, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And it's customary to steep your tea for anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes. But obviously, if you want a very, very strong tea, then you could steep it for a little bit longer. We're going to strain our fruit today from our simple syrup. You could use that fruit for something else if you wanted. It's certainly not going to be bad. It would make a dynamite puree to put on toast or something like that in the morning, because it's going to be cooked with all the lemon and sugary flavors as well. So don't feel like you have to discard it. It certainly could have another use behind it as well. And I think that's where we're at with the tea so far, right?
Yes.
Great. So now we're going to talk about our cantaloupe salad. Yes. What all do we need to get going for that?
So for the cantaloupe salad, you're going to need 1 cantaloupe. This is a rather small cantaloupe because it's just 2 of us. But again, if you want to make this for a larger gathering, once we're out of a pandemic, of course, you can use a larger melon or you can use multiple melons. Now, as for the melon, I have a cantaloupe, but you can definitely use honeydew or watermelon or some of those fancy, like candied melons that are coming out in the stores right now at the end of the season. Of course, we always go for whatever is fresh, and that's what we love. We love fresh flavors. So we are using a cantaloupe today. You could also definitely mix and match. You can do half of a cantaloupe, half of a watermelon, or half of a melon and half of a honeydew. It's really up to you and what you want for your salad, but we're using a cantaloupe today. So we decided that we wanted to go at our melon with a melon baller. You can definitely dice up your melon. To do that, you would just cut the ends off of each side so you have flat surfaces to work on. Tip it up on the side, and similar to a watermelon, bring your knife and shave down each side, and that would definitely work until you have none of your rind on there. And then just like what we're doing today, we're going to cut it in half, and then we're going to scoop out the inside. So again, you can definitely cut the ends off and then shave off the sides, But today we are gonna make we're gonna use a melon baller. It's kind of fancier, a little fun, and just something we really like to do. So I'm going to cut my melon in half.
Oh, that looks like a perfect
Oh
melon.
my gosh,
Let me get a
such
close.
a pretty color.
All right, so how do we pick a good melon? Do you know, so?
I don't think I
Do you
do.
have any tips? I have some tips. So you're supposed to pick a good melon. You want to flip that over? I'm going to get a
Yes.
close up of the skin. They say if you can get a lot of like really rough surface that's kind of like poked up from its original rind there, you know, it's kind of bumpier on the surface, that makes for a good melon. You should be able to smell your melon through its rind, and if not, it's definitely not going to be ripened. Is there a way that we can ripen it at home if we end up with a not ripe melon?
Absolutely. So if your melon isn't quite ripe, you can set it out on your counter, especially if you don't have the air conditioning on, and it will ripen pretty quickly that way. If you don't, or if you do want your air conditioning on, because let's be honest, I'm not going to sacrifice my air conditioning for a melon, you can set it outside in the sunshine on your patio, and it will ripen pretty quickly for you, and then you'll be able to use it, and it will be just as delicious. So the next step in our melon process is to scoop out all the insides, kind of similar to a pumpkin. So I really love to use ice cream scoops for this. It's the perfect size and it's really easy for me to handle. So I'm just going to go through the middle.
I like how the ice cream scoop gets everything out of there without leaving a bunch of like, you know, it doesn't look like you mangled your melon.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a lot easier to work with. And then eventually, because you used the ice cream scoop, it'll be a lot easier to handle your melon.
And when I make this for large groups, folks, I usually get a honeydew, a watermelon, and a cantaloupe. But unfortunately, we don't have 80 of you in our audience today to be able to serve this delicious salad. So I'm going with the smallest melon that we could find that seemed the ripest this morning when I went to the store, and that was the cantaloupe. But it's really, really beautiful salad when you use the melon baller and you have all three colors of melon in there just kind of playing together. It's a really whimsical salad.
And delicious.
So we did something very similar in, I think, our first week of these virtual cooking seminars, but I don't believe we added the flavor punch of honey and ginger to it. It's just mint.
Yeah, and those are going to be great flavor profiles to add and profiles, which of course is always the goal, right? Because healthy food can be just as delicious as food that's not as healthy for you. Ginger is full of antioxidants, and not only will it make a delicious fresh salad for us, it'll also make it a little healthier. And of course, that's always the goal, right? Is to make everything delicious and nutritious. So we're going to be adding ginger, and then honey is such a great natural sweetener. It's so much better for you than opposed to artificial sweeteners or adding more sugar because it's super, super natural, and it's good for the bees. If bees didn't have to make honey, they wouldn't have a job, and of course, bees are naturally hard workers, and that's what they want to do with their lives, or at least that's what they're programmed to do with their lives.
Well, and we wouldn't have the cantaloupe if we didn't have the bees.
Yeah, right, exactly. And this will, by using honey, we allow bees to have their job, and then they can pollinate for us, and then we have delicious looking melons like this to play with, especially during the summertime. So I am just taking a melon baller and kind of going in a circle and getting all the melon that I can.
There is like no waste when you use a melon baller really either, because you can see exactly where you need to get down to in the rind. And so you can really utilize all of that delicious fruit. You know, I found something out recently because my friend owns an apiary. So I've been watching him do a lot of demos on bees lately, which has just been fascinating. Thanks to actually Hilda from AARP, who actually introduced me to my bee friend, Rob Preston. But anyway, he informed us that if you have allergies, you probably have local allergies to, you know, maybe outdoors allergies.
Yeah.
You can eat the local honey and it'll help your allergies react less. Because
No way.
absolutely. And you can actually order bee pollen and you can put that into different foods or steep it into your tea to try and get it into your diet to help counteract different outdoor allergies.
You're kidding.
No.
That's the coolest trick I've ever heard.
So I always do try to buy local honey whenever possible, just because my daughter and I both suffer from a lot of outdoor allergies, and I don't know, it's not a noticeable difference, but I enjoy the thought that that definitely could help with the allergies. I've noticed that they haven't been as bad in the last couple years, so maybe that's the answer.
Score. Oh my gosh, that's great. I am lucky. I do not have super bad allergies. I'll get them, but I'm not super bad. My mom, terrible allergies. I'm definitely going to tell her. She will love that trick. But yeah, so I'm just taking my melon baller and I'm just going around kind of in a circle.
Seriously, this simple syrup, I just had to come over here and get a closer whip. Yeah, we're not going to throw that food away.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to puree that. I'm going to put it on my toast.
Yum, that sounds so good. Or on some French toast. Yum. We are currently on a weight loss challenge at the Cookery. So this is not very good for us, but
everything in moderation.
Yes.
Everything in
So I'm just taking my melon baller, going
Looks
through
pretty good.
Below. Yeah, getting as much as I can because it looks delicious. Plus, it just looks so much cuter in little bitty melon bites, right?
It's very fancy with the melon baller. We got this one at Bed Bath & Beyond. They're very cost effective. Let's check out this simple syrup.
It's turning kind of a dark pink color, if you guys can see that. And
all right, I think we're done with that.
Delicious.
So now
I'm going to show you guys the ginger trick that we use here at the Cookery. You just take a spoon and you run it across the skin of your ginger and it will peel it, easy peasy. It's a lot easier to get into those small nooks and crannies than a peeler. So I'm just I wouldn't. It's going to make your life harder. You absolutely can. But a spoon is something everyone has in their house already, and it just makes the job so much easier.
Probably not as dangerous.
Yeah, right?
You can really catch yourself on a little tiny piece of ginger. And okay, I like that. So it comes off pretty easily with just a regular old teaspoon.
Yep. So I'm just going to go across that. We're going to need about 2 teaspoons of ginger. So you can even see on these legs, this would be so much harder if I had a peeler. I'm really able to get down in there and it'll give me, of course, we always talk about using less waste if we can help it. So this will help reduce the waste of any ginger.
So safer, reduces waste, and if you don't use all your ginger and you know you won't need it for a minute, you can stick it in your freezer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it freezes so well and then you can pull it out and it's just as fresh and has just as many antioxidants.
Have you ever heard of that word umami? It's become quite popular in the last few years.
Sounds familiar.
It's known as like the 6th taste. You know, there's like sweet, salty, sour. Umami is one of those. And for me, anything that I feel like has that umami flavor contains ginger, because that's my thing. That's the thing that makes me want to eat more of something, because it is just a unique flavor. It's so fresh, so bright and floral.
Yes.
So I try to put it in a lot of dishes. I've noticed that I've gone a lot in the Asian direction of my cooking in the last few years, and that definitely is accepting of a lot of ginger in the recipes. All right, so you're just using your zester here.
Yep.
Or your ginger.
Just going through. You could use a grater, but we're using the zester later on, so it's less dishes and I think easier.
Okay.
So I have just about 2 teaspoons in there. You can do as much or as little as you like, but of course we love ginger here at the Cookery. So I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons, and then I'm going to zest a lime, excuse me. So the lime we are going to zest, you're going to need 2 limes for this. So you're going to want the zest of 1 and then the juice of 2. So your recipe calls for about 4 tablespoons of lime juice. Each standard lime juices about 2 tablespoons each. So instead of measuring it out and wasting another dish, I'm just going to assume that each of these pretty standard size limes are going to yield me about 2 tablespoons of juice.
Now, if you had a little over, it wouldn't really be that big of a deal, right?
Absolutely. Not in a salad. You can definitely play with the ratios depending on what you like. So if you want a little less ginger, put a little less ginger. Or, of course, if you want some more ginger, you can definitely add. Same with lime zest, lime juice. All of these are really great to play with. So I'm just going to zest this up, and then I am going to add the juice of both of these. Now, if you have like a larger lime, of course, you can pare down some of the juice. You can add the juice of 1.5 or something like that. But we don't want to waste anything, and we love some lime juice around here. So I'm going to give each of these a quick roll, cut them in half, and use my handy dandy juicer again, and juice each one of these.
I recently lost the little bolt that holds my juicer at home together, and I am lost with it. I'm going straight to the store today to buy me another one of those because I use my juicer every single day at my house.
I need
every
one.
day.
I've never owned one. Like, we've never owned one in our house. And when I started working, it's like, these are 1,000 times easier.
You really can extract more juice with those. That's what it comes down to. And then not worrying about the seeds is a great feeling.
We have one of those automated. You press it down and it spins, but it's only really handy for like large amounts, like making lemonade. Like if I need to juice a lime, I'm not gonna pull it out. Right. So, but it's all right. I just need to get one of these. So now I'm going to chop. Oh, I'm sorry. Just a little bit of fresh mint. Mint grows like crazy in places, especially in the summer. So it's a fantastic herb to utilize. So I'm going to give this a quick chiffonade. And by doing this, I'm going to roll up all of my mint as tight as I can.
So you're rolling it up long like a cigar.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I'm going to just slowly run my knife through my little rolled up mint leaves.
Chiffonade being the French word meaning ribbons.
So then, yep, absolutely. And then you can see as I unfold one, it gives me a nice, long, pretty ribbon. So I'm going to add that straight into the salad. It is going to bring such a fresh flavor. And again, mint grows like crazy. But you can always use whatever herbs you like. Mint is
basil would be great in here too.
Mint
and you could swap your lemon for lime and do lemon basil. Oh, that would be delicious.
It just gives us that nice fresh flavor, and that's what we love around here. So then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar. Sugar, along with our honey, of course, will add our sweetness, but this is going to draw the juices out from our fruit that we have in there. So I'm just going to stir that around a little bit. Sugar just acts as kind of a natural chemical breakdown to the fruit, and it'll really bring all of those juices out for us. Then I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons of honey. We love, of course, local honey that we can get at the farmer's market, but really any raw honey will do. And then at this point, I'm going to take a spoon and give it a nice stir so everything is combined. I want to make sure all of my ginger is fully dispersed. And you can always add more of whatever ingredient you like. That's what's so great about this. So you can already see the juices starting to come out from all that sugar. So then at this point, if you want to add something like more mint, this is the point to do that. Or if you want to add...
I'll tell you what it needs.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. I love the ginger.
It's just so fresh.
It just goes really good with the honey, honestly.
Yeah.
All right, that's fantastic.
Yeah, we're going to put it up in our little bowl. And then I'm going to top mine with some goat cheese or feta cheese. We have feta cheese today, but you can use both. I love myself some goat cheese, so you can definitely do both. You don't want to add this into your salad. You definitely want to top, because otherwise it's going to get mushy and kind of lose that texture that we're adding to it, and it'll get kind of gross. So I have some Mediterranean herb feta crumbles, and this will add a nice tang to a pretty sweet salad, and it will be absolutely delicious. Yum. And I love cheese, guys. I really do. So I'm going to add a good crumble in there, and then while you're eating it, you can mix it in so you still have that nice texture. So we're done with our feta salad, cantaloupe salad, and now I am going to take my tea that has been steeping for a little while, and I am going to dump my simple syrup through a fine mesh strainer, keeping those peaches so we can use them for something else. And then that is going to be the end of our tea.
So we'll go ahead and make it all up. I'll get the tea for you if you want to do the straining. Yep.
Fantastic. That's what I love. Oh, perfect. That's perfect. So again, I'm just gonna fine mesh strain it straight through into my mesh strainer. Try and scoop those out. So then we're taking the tea bags out. We've let them steep for a little longer. So it's going to be nice and strong. But that's what I love. And then of course you can always add whatever you like to make it your preferred sweetness level. So I'm going to take my simple syrup that is now a dark pink color. But of course you can let this go longer, or if you feel like it's gone long enough for you, set it out either in the fridge or on the counter for a while and let it set up until it gets into that syrupy consistency, and then puree the peaches to make a spread or a sauce or whatever you want to do with those. Thank you so much. And then I am just going to strain a little bit of this right into our tea. Sorry.
Here we go.
So, oh, you can really see the color in as I pour it, and it looks delicious.
Wow.
I'm gonna save all those delicious peaches.
Yeah, we definitely want those.
And then you can pop this in the fridge for a while, so then you don't melt all your ice. So now I'm gonna pass it over to Chef Amanda, and she is going to go over the fried tomato sandwich with our delicious sauce that's gonna go with that. Alrighty.
Thanks, Soph.
Absolutely.
All right, folks, if you have any questions about what we've done so far, this would be a great time to ask them. And then if not, I'm just going to go right into our fried green tomato sandwich, which I have already served next door to the ladies at the quilt corner. And I think they enjoyed it. So that's very exciting. Okay, so let's talk about fried green tomatoes first, which are essentially just a unripe tomato, and they will ripen if you allow them the time. So these have been here for a couple days, and I already had one that was starting to turn slightly orange. But I wanted to go out and hunt them down because we're going to get to the end of the season where we're not going to be able to find fresh tomatoes anymore. So I went to the market and grabbed these early on just to make sure I could get them, and then just from the humidity here in the shop from cooking 600 pies last week, we started to ripen my tomatoes. So I shoved them in the refrigerator to prevent that from going any further.
Will they have the same flavor profile as a ripe tomato?
They're going to be a little bit more tart and a little bit more bitter, but mostly it's a textural thing. You know, when we look for a red tomato, we look for it to be nice, ripe, juicy, and not super firm. Whereas with our green tomatoes, we want a nice firm texture, because it's going to go through the deep frying process or pan frying process. In this case, it's going to soften the tomato. But what I love about this recipe is that we're actually going to macerate using sugar and salt. So I'll start by just slicing my tomatoes, and I don't need all of these today. I already have some going. But I'm slicing them about 1/4 inch thick. And I like to have 2 tomatoes per sandwich. Seems to work out really well. So I'll do that first. And again, they're nice and firm, so they're really easy to work with. And I have here a sheet pan lined with a baker's rack. Like I said, we use these on the daily here at the Cookery, so I always recommend getting some. But I've already seasoned up some tomatoes earlier today, just so that you could kind of see, maybe you can see in the camera, I'm not sure, kind of the difference between the two. So Sophie's going to get a close-up here. But these are the ones that I just put on. As you can see, these are like super glistening and juicy, but they're also not as firm, okay? And the reason for that is I've made this salt and sugar mixture, which is actually in your recipe. It's equal parts salt and sugar. And I'm going to actually just let the tomatoes rest with a little bit of this mixture on them. And about 30 minutes, About 30 minutes is good for that. And what it's going to do is draw out the moisture of the tomato. And we want to do that when we're deep frying or pan frying something. That way it's not like a soggy mess when we go to eat it, which then makes our sandwich bread a soggy mess. And then it's like 2 no-nos, right? So other things that I have on deck here are my sheet pan, complete with 2 towels. I've got 1 towel for the bottom and I've got 1 towel on the top. So I've already started my tomatoes. Like I said, they've been sitting here for some time so that I can then take them to the next step, which is to put them on my towels. And these are obviously clean towels. I'm going to take one on top of the other and we're just going to press those juices out. So we're just kind of soaking them up because we, again, don't want them to come out in our sandwich. Okay? So I'm just kind of soaking them up. And just great amounts of juice coming out there. Then they're going to go back onto my little baker's rack here. Perfect. And they're going to get just a bit more salt on top. And go really light because we have salt in every layer. And if you have to cut salt out of your diet, then that's fine. You can go really light on the salt or just use no salt at all. And I'm going to flip them over. And the reason that I do that is anytime we're going to give something a breading procedure, we want to have seasoning in every layer, even if your seasoning is just salt, which is the most important seasoning in my opinion. Unless you can't have it, that's understandable. But salt brings out the natural flavor in food. So if you taste a food before salting it, it tastes different than it tastes after you salt it.
Why did you bring all the juices out and then soak them up with the towel?
Because again, we're going to pan fry these and we don't want to have like a really liquidy tomato because our breading isn't going to stick. It's going to want to fall off. So it's really important that we kind of remove some of the juiciness from our tomato.
Gotcha.
So what I have in my skillet here, and everybody knows I love cooking in my cast iron, and we've already done a batch of these today. They came out great. But what I have in here, you can see that part of it's kind of white and frothy. That was my butter. And then I had equal parts of olive oil and butter. And you'll notice that we cook with both fats here quite often. Number one, we don't want to burn our butter in the pan. We're not technically deep frying here. We're pan frying. And we're not doing it at a super high temperature, which means olive oil is going to be good here. If we wanted to cook at a really high temperature, olive oil would not be a good oil here. We would want to go with something like canola or veggie. But in this particular instance, we're going to just put it on like a medium heat. We love the sweetness and the creaminess of the butter, but we also love the flavor of the olive oil. So putting both in here is like the best of both worlds. Okay, over here, we have what's called our standard breading procedure. We also have a friendly fly who's starting to upset me. So we have our standard breading procedure here, which is 3 different parts. So we have seasoned flour, which is just your flour from the recipe that gets seasoned with just salt and pepper. Then we have our eggs, so a mixture of whites and yolks together, or whole eggs, just whisked up simply. That also got a tiny bit of salt and pepper. And then here I have our panko breading, which is very light and crispy breading, and it's mixed with Parmesan cheese from the recipe. So you've got like a cheesy seasoned breadcrumb filling. These 3 bowls together make up what's called the standard breading procedure. We use this every single day around here to bread a number of things, but basically always into the flour first. The flour coating allows the egg to be able to stick better, and then the egg allows the breadcrumb to be able to stick better. You'll see that our panko has been kind of broken down. It's a pretty nice and like fine crumb. I like to run it in the food processor, or you can buy these Italian style, and they're a lot smaller than your traditional like Japanese breadcrumb, which usually has bigger flecks of the breadcrumb in it. So I do like the can for this particular recipe, and I love the Italian flavor because it gives just one more flavor profile to the outside breading of the tomato. So now we've got this starting to bubble. We don't want it to get out of control because we don't want our milk solids, the milk and the butter, to actually turn brown. Well, brown would be okay, but black would not be, which is what comes after brown. So we need to be thinking about getting those into the pan pretty quickly. So we'll start by breading our tomato slices. I usually like to keep one hand clean. Kind of ruined it almost right there in the first one. Okay, and then we're going to flip You want to really make sure that you got egg on all parts of that. And if not, go back in and get a double dip. Okay. We'll grab a couple more because both Sophie and I are going to have a sandwich today.
Yum, I'm so excited.
She is a vegetarian, so she's going to eliminate the bacon from hers. Okay, so we'll do that again. And then we're going to get them into the breadcrumbs, and we're going to press the breadcrumb firmly into the tomato. And I like to really press it in there. And then it's going to go directly into our pan. And you don't want to overcrowd your pan because then your temperature is going to drop out and get too low, and then you won't have crispy fried tomatoes. So I'm just operating right at about in between a 4 and a 5. So I'm right at that medium heat. So flour first, then into the eggs. And again, I'm using the Italian seasoned breadcrumbs here. Oh, they were super delicious earlier. We gave a little test run. We do make fried green tomatoes in our southern class, which happens over, I don't remember when we did that one. Last month, maybe. They're only available at a certain time of the year, so you really have to take advantage when they're here. So middle to the end of summer is a good time to find your fried green tomatoes or your green tomatoes, or grow them yourself. Any big, large variety tomato is going to work and produce a green tomato for you. And I'll show you the pan here in just a second. Once we get these going. And then I find that the best tool to use to flip your tomatoes is going to be a flat metal spatula. And you want to be careful not to flip them until you have that nice brown, golden, buttery edge on it. But once you flip them, it's just not, it's like a pancake. You can't go back. You gotta be dedicated, right? And make sure that it's just the color you want. So I like to do that technique where I just kind of lift, give it a little bit of a peek. And you don't want them to cook too fast because you do want that tomato breaking down a little bit. So in the meantime, I have had Sophie toast up some bread slices. Today we're just using a organic all white bread, but sourdough would be amazing here. Yesterday we used that multi-seed bread, which was fabulous for the BLT, I might add. Any bread that you really like works here.
So you're using 2 pieces, but could you make this kind of an open face sandwich if you were looking to cut down carbs?
For sure. Yep. And just recently we had these, and we did mozzarella stacks on top.
Oh.
And so we ate it without the bread. So had the breading on it, but we just melted those under a broiler in the oven with the tomato on the bottom.
Yum.
And then a piece of basil in between, and that was really outstanding as well. So you don't have to go the sandwich route here.
These would be good on a salad.
And all of this yummy white bubbling going on is our milk salads from the butter. And that's just delicious. So we'll let those go for a second. And while they do, I'm going to talk about our remoulade. So if you want to bring the camera over here, so we have all of our remoulade ingredients already out. So I have mayonnaise. We use a heavy duty here, and you all seem to love that. But of course, you could find a healthier version. Okay, we've got some stone ground Dijon mustard. This is my favorite. We get it at our local Kroger, but really any stone ground that has the little specks of mustard seed is what we're looking for. We've got a little chili powder in there, which is no heat, but just a little kick of flavor and seasoning. We're going to add the zest of our lemon and a little bit of the juice, and we're going to add some fresh parsley. So I already have the other 2 things in here, and it's just going to be a simple stir it up kind of thing. Once we get everything kind of sliced up and ready, these are looking gorgeous.
What is a remoulade? Like, why is it named
remoulade? Is like a fancy way of saying it's kind of like aioli, but usually it has chunks of something in it.
Okay.
So like an aioli is usually a smoother consistency, like a flavored mayonnaise. A remoulade is usually like a mayonnaise that's been elevated even more, but with like the mustard or the parsley.
Gotcha.
So it usually has a bit of a chunkier kind of consistency to it. I love the stone ground mustard in here. It's going to be perfect to go with these sun-dried tomatoes. But yesterday we made for our BLT a chipotle aioli.
Oh, yum.
And that would be really good on here too. So if you wanted to skip the sauce, they could definitely play well together. All right, so when these come out, I've got, what do you know, another baker's rack ready to go here. These look perfect. They are golden brown. They are crispy on the outside, but they are nice and succulent and juicy on the inside, I can assure you.
Gorgeous.
Okay, I'm going to turn off our heat there. And while they're hot, we're going to dust them with a little bit of Parmesan cheese. And you could add more salt there as well if you wanted, but I'm not going to. I'm going to hold back. Okay, and then I'm going to get a little provolone cheese for my sandwich here. And some baby arugula, which is my favorite lettuce garnish. Okay, now that we have all the components to our sandwich, we'll make our quick remoulade. So mayonnaise, chili powder, and stone ground mustard is what we have going on in here so far. I'm going to give that a stir. Then we're going to go with just a little bit of our lemon zest, and we might get some lime zest in there from our last recipe, and that's all right with me, because what we really want here is just the citrus pop. This is just one of those sandwiches that don't get enough credit, so because it's kind of a thing of the past.
It sounds delicious. My grandpa loves tomato sandwiches, and I always thought, especially when I was little, like, ew, why would you put tomato on a sandwich? But it's delicious.
Yeah. I'm a tomato freak. We probably grew like 6 different varieties of tomatoes this year, which is way less than what I usually do because we moved into a new house right when it was kind of planting season. So
that would explain it.
I'm just going to do my parsley. Really nice little mince. That's going to go beautifully here. This remoulade is such a really good sauce for anything seafood as well, like crab cakes is one of the main things I would eat this on. Okay, and then we need just a little bit of the juice from that lemon. Fresh ginger would be great in here too, if you wanted to get crazy. This was a pretty juicy lemon, so I don't think I'm going to need more than the half there. Give that a stir. That's beautiful. So as you can see, it's a little bit chunkier than what a mayonnaise would be because it's got parsley and stone ground and other things. But usually that'll classify it as a good question.
I love asking chef questions like that because she always knows the answer.
Or I can fake it.
Fake it till you make it.
And then guess what, folks? We had some of that lovely candied bacon from yesterday, and that's going to become the bacon on our sandwich. All right, so now let's do it. We've got our toasted bread slices, okay? Then we're going to use the remoulade as our glue. How pretty is that?
Yum, that looks so gorgeous. Already, and we haven't even added the tomato. Do you cut your sandwiches when you eat them?
Yeah.
I've been a firm believer since I was little that if you cut it in a triangle, it tastes better.
I do. I think so too, and it's easier to eat because you
I'm glad I'm not crazy.
You're going in there.
I'm glad I'm not crazy.
All right, provolone cheese, but obviously any cheese is going to work well here. And then I love arugula as my lettuce on sandwiches because it's naturally pepper flavored. So it has a little bite, but any greens are going to work. If you like iceberg, go for it. That's what we used yesterday, so I wanted to switch it up and get a little fancy. All right, and I'm going to put lots of that because I love that. And then I'm going to put 2 tomato slices side by side. And then, hello, candied bacon from yesterday. And again, Sophie's a vegetarian, so I'm going to eat her bacon.
Oh, no.
These are the kinds of things that I do for my employees. I eat their bacon. All right, and then we're going to sandwich our sandwich together. Pardon the pun. And then yes, I am a diagonal slicer.
I am too.
And here it is. All right, and then we need to get our iced tea out. We're gonna plate up. Look at the inside of that, folks.
Oh my gosh, I
That
cannot
looks
wait
delicious.
to eat that.
And then we'll get a little camera action going on our full meal.
Oh,
So we have our
yum.
delicious melon mint ginger salad this time with a Mediterranean herb feta cheese on top. Then we have our fried green tomato sandwich with candied bacon, our remoulade for the day, which was a different flavor, stone ground mustard for today. And then we have our delicious sweet raspberry peach tea. And that is it. That makes up for a complete meal for today, Tuesday, and we'll be back tomorrow making the grown-up grilled cheese and a tomato basil soup with Chef Joe. So I know he's excited to cook for you, and we're excited to have you back, and we can't wait. If you have any questions, you can certainly hit us up on our Facebook page, Cookery Inc., or you can send them to my Gmail at cookeryinc@gmail.com. Thanks, everybody, and we'll be back tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thank you guys so much. And thank you guys for joining us. Come back tomorrow for AARP's going to have our final installment of our 3-part cooking series. I'm Lori Hendren on behalf of AARP. We thank you for joining us. And as always, if you guys are interested in what we're doing, I'm going to put up Ellen Aceveto's contact information for you. So you can reach out to her, email, call her, say, hey, I got a great idea for a class, or hey, I would like to volunteer. Either way, we'd love to hear from you. We have a lot going on, and it is because of you, the viewer, you, the member, you, the 50+ population, that all things are possible in this state and in our nation. So thank